Heyo, it's your boy Sam Slimmy, and today we are doing Dungeon Misfits D&D. I am joined by my Dungeon Misfits co-host.
Hi, I'm your favorite lovable Fireball Phoenix, and these are our wonderful guests.
Hello, my little piggies. Dirty Hogs here.
Welcome to the nuclear waste dump.
I am the shroom.
And I, my wonderful players, am the DM for tonight.
Kind of.
Mostly.
So, so first of all, we're going to be going over with everyone how playing D&D would even work. Some of them have never played D&D. Some of them have maybe played D&D once, and some of them have just sat in on D&D games. Mushroom, yes. Yeah, we are joined by joined by a tiny mushroom. Really, McRae Show block? Yeah.
I give Mauricio disadvantage.
You ate him? Don't eat the mushroom.
He's very
You-
toxic.
You might die.
Wait, why are you eating a mushroom? Wait, why is Nah, I'm not even gonna ask
Sam
questions
has-
about what's going on in the chat.
Sam, you're constantly asking like, what can they lick you and all that stuff, or
Yep.
can we shove you in things? And now we have Shroomish, who is apparently getting eaten by everybody.
Hey, I'm toxic and glow in the dark.
Soon
See?
they will
Been
as
around
well.
bio way too long.
Soon they will as well.
Hmm.
See, I'm eating a healthy bowl of kidney beans and NyQuil.
Yeah, he's eating. You're eating a healthy bowl of kidney beans and drinking NyQuil. That's exactly how a DM should run things. So, Doc, I'm gonna let you start off with the first bit of kind of how to play D&D.
Would you like me to go over the spiel of the Dungeon Master and the player, or just the player?
For right now, just the player, I'd say.
Alright. So, how to play. Skipping over how the DM describes the environment, the players describe what they want to do. Sometimes one player speaks for the whole party, saying, "We'll take the east door," for example. Other times, different adventurers do different things. One adventurer might like to search a treasure chest, while the second examines an whatever fucking symbol. Me no read good.
Esoteric. The word's esoteric.
Terrorist.
No, esoteric.
Anyways, symbol engraved on the wall, and the third keeps watch for monsters. The players don't need to take turns, but the DM listens to every player and decides how to resolve those actions. Sometimes resolving a task is easy. If a player wants to walk across a room and open a door, the DM might just say that the door is open and describe what lies behind. But the door might be locked. The floor might hide a deadly trap, or some other circumstance might make it challenging for an adventurer to complete a task. In those cases, the DM decides what happens, often relying on the roll of a dice to determine the result. Then I, or Sam as the DM, will describe to you what happens, when it happens, and why it happens. Does everyone understand what the role of a player is?
No.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, what do
Well,
you not
Hogs-
understand?
Yeah, what do you
I'm
not understand?
joking.
Okay, no, I need to dumb it down real quick. So what don't you understand?
I don't understand. What's a trap?
So, dear player, a trap is a male person in female clothing.
Oh, there's a
Wrong
trap on the
Wrong
floor.
trap.
Got it.
Wrong trap.
No, that would stop me from making my way to the other side of the room to open the door. Makes sense.
I think it was trap, not tramp.
No, a tramp is a woman who dresses really shittily.
Ah.
So,
We all understand
Phoenix.
the difference?
So I have a question. So if
Yeah.
we like, instead of like walking across the room, we can like roll a dice to examine the room first before we walk across, right?
Yes,
Yes,
you can.
we call that a perception check.
Yep.
I, as the DM, might ask you to make one before you even try to do anything. Or, you can ask to do one when not given the option.
Gotcha.
And in my case, while I'm hoping you guys are going to be well aware of what the die are, for those of you who don't, essentially, there are many types of die that are used in Dungeons and Dragons, ranging from a D20 to a D12 to a D10 to a D100, which the D100 can be the most confusing for some people, I'd say. There's
We don't need to
also,
worry about
yeah,
what a D100 is for now.
yeah, for now. There's also a D8, a D6, a D4, typically. There are some rare circumstances where you can get die that are D2s.
Or just get a fucking coin.
Yeah, or flip a coin if you don't have one. There are rare circumstances where D&D will ask you to use die that are not plausible, like a D3, and that's one of the most confusing ones because most people want to ask me what that means. What you'd have to do in those circumstances, because a D3 doesn't exist, and if it does exist, I'd love to have one. That'd be interesting. But for the most part, what you end up experiencing is you roll a D6 and just have whatever you roll, rounded up, of course.
D&D will also ask you to roll a D1 from when making an unarmed strike. We'll go over that later.
Yeah, that one is probably the most confusing, and it's just one. It's just one, like a one of one.
It is always 1
There.
plus something.
Yeah.
There is a D3 dice. I just looked it up.
Well, Edgy aided it.
Edgy
Apparently.
ate the D3. That's why I don't have one. That
No,
makes sense.
he didn't aid it. He aided it.
Oh, he ate it. Yeah. Also, tell Grumpy J I say hello to McGren Show.
Any other questions?
No.
What's 2 plus 2?
Fish.
All right, let's
Is
go.
a perception check an action?
Now, we'll go over checks like that
Yeah.
shortly.
But I am going to give you guys the actual excerpt for describing dice as a whole from the book. Does an adventurer's sword swing hurt a dragon or just bounce off its iron hard scales? Will the ogre believe in outrageous bluff? Can a character swim across a raging river? Can a character avoid the main blast of a fireball? Or does he or she take full damage from the blaze? In cases where the outcome of an action is uncertain, the Dungeons and Dragons game relies on rolls of a 20-sided die, a d20 for short, to determine success or failure in most cases. Every character and monster in the game has capabilities defined by 6 ability scores, which we will go into later. Those ability scores then create something called modifiers, which we will also go in a little bit more in depth later. But typically, you would roll such a thing. You'd roll a d20, and then you would look at your score, which, like I said, we'll go over later, and you would use your modifier and add it to that. There are also other things that could be added as well, but yeah.
Modifiers, again, we'll go over later, but there are also things like situational stuff we'll also go over when we go over that.
We'll eventually go over something like armor class and difficulty class, which is not a common term that players will ever have to deal with. It's more of which I will kind of go over difficulty class real quick, because it's mostly just a DM tool. A difficulty class is essentially you pick how hard you want something to be. And then your players will roll against that to try to achieve it. Like, give me an example of something that one of you would want to do in a circumstance, randomly.
Fight a dildo.
Fuck.
I'm skipping that one, Phoenix.
I'm
Anyone
skipping
else?
that one in Spell Hog.
How dare.
You've been awfully
Right.
quiet.
Yeah,
Dang it,
Toxic.
dang it, dang it.
Toxic.
To
Now
another
you get to
area.
pick. What'd you say?
Do a front flip to another area.
Okay.
Okay, that's a lot easier to describe.
Yep.
I guess I'm describing it. So, to do a back or front flip, that would be, I would say a medium task.
Yeah.
A test of your athletics or acrobatics.
Which are skills that we'll go into later so you can better understand them. Also, to answer your question, a one-sided die. Do I call it what? I don't know what to call him. Do I call him Broken Heart?
He goes by Broken. We don't
Broken?
do real names here, so
Yeah.
Broken will do.
Okay, so Broken. A one-sided die is a 1d1. That we brought that up earlier.
It's literally one face. It is one.
It is 1d1.
So I would imagine that going into a dragon cave and trying to steal one of its eggs while it's sleeping, that would be
That is a very hard
That
task.
one is actually a mixture of multiple tasks you would have to perform to do so. One, you have to get in there, of course. Another one is
That is the
procure.
easiest
Yeah.
part.
Another one is procure what you're trying to take, which, in order to not be heard, might require another roll. You also have to keep an eye on the. You also would have to keep an eye on the dragon, which would be an additional roll. D Infinity is something only a DM can use, and it's called a True Strike, or True Damage, or a True Hit could be another term.
We don't talk about true damage here. Anyways, to steal a dragon egg, yes, it would take multiple rolls, and then one might be a medium easy task, but procuring the egg might be hard, and then leaving with your life may be very hard.
What, you
Makes
don't want to
sense?
sit next to Bio anymore?
Well, no, I realize that I've kind of been doing like I'm basically me and him are going back and forth explaining things, so I thought it'd be a little better for me to sit closer to the DM. Once I'm a player,
Bio
I'll
has
sit next to
good-
Bio.
I mean, it's not like radiation bothers you.
It doesn't.
Anyways, there are multiple classifications for a DC that we might give subtle hints about. Like, let's say you want to attack the guard without getting caught from a range. Okay. That might be a little difficult.
Yeah.
Maybe a little hard.
So I actually, to run my games, I've created a little bit of a. Sorry, I gotta take care of my. Okay, that's okay, McRencho. I have built a series of notes, and it's notes that me and Doc have shared between each other. An example of DCs, I have them defined pretty easily based on, and then I can use this description to try to give you guys an idea of how hard something is. Very easy is a 5. Most players can roll practically anything and be able to do it. My party member tries to slap. I'm not reading that. And gets a nat 20 on the stealth check. I'm sorry, you won't notice it.
He won't notice it. Roll damage.
Yeah. Like they aren't. You're not gonna notice that they're trying to do it. Sadly, they just be able to do it. Now, no, I'm not gonna go into that. But in the case of like to describe a DC, I have the term very easy, which means a DC 5. Now, to any of you guys, this is not really gonna mean anything right now, but it'll mean something later. A DC 10 is easy. A DC 15 is a mild or is a middle difficulty in my opinion. Hard is 20, 25 is very hard, and 30 is improbable. Now in standard D&D they'll tell you 30 is impossible, but I will tell you this. Players often achieve the impossible. So 30 does not
Now,
work.
Anything after 35 included, is you would have a better chance of convincing a god to possibly spare a man's life.
That would be an example of impossible. 35 plus is impossible at that point.
If
We
you
can
can
convince
somehow
a god to spare someone's life.
That is something yeah.
Now, if you can beat an impossible DC, then fuck me, I guess.
That's when you fuck over your DM completely. That's just what that is.
Do we all understand this assignment?
Any questions?
Assignment understood, Doctor.
All right. You said somewhat, so do you have a question, Hog?
No.
Okay.
Excellent question.
Next thing, Doc, I'll let you go over advantage and disadvantage.
So, to keep this one brief, whenever I or Sam say you have advantage or disadvantage, we're telling you to roll 2d20. Now, advantage states that if we let you have advantage, you roll 2d20 and take the higher roll. Makes sense? Let's say you roll a 19 and a 20, you would take the 20. Disadvantage works the opposite way. Anything to add on to that?
Not really. That one is usually the easiest to explain, and people tend to get it. Now, it'll often be something that it won't happen too often in some cases, so people will forget the rules of advantage and disadvantage, so it's not that bad if me having advantage and rolling 2 1s. Oh, I am sorry, Broken.
That
I have
does happen.
Oh,
There are
Edgy has the bullet dice.
Alright. There are things that can allow you to get advantage and disadvantage on certain things. But those are typically spells or class features.
Yeah. All
Or it
right.
may be backstory related.
Could be backstory related.
Anyways.
Yeah.
Specific beats in general.
All right. Do you
Or
want to read
specific
that, or do
beats.
you want me to do it?
I got it. You'll
Alright.
go out. You'll cover round down.
All
Specific
right.
beats general. So, this book contains rules, especially in parts 2 and 3, that govern how the game plays. That said, many racial traits, class features, spells, magic items, monster abilities, and other game elements break the general rules in some way, creating an exception to how the rest of the game works. Remember this: if a specific rule contradicts general rule, the specific rule wins. Exceptions to the rules are often minor. For instance, many adventurers don't have proficiency with longbows, but every wood elf does because it's a racial trait. That trait creates a minor exception to the game. Other examples of rule breaking are more conspicuous. For instance, an adventurer can't normally pass through walls, but some spells make that possible. Magic accounts for most of the major exceptions to the rules. Now, there's a little bit extra I want to add to this. If we, the DMs, decide that something is plausible and makes sense, we allow for something called the rule of cool. Sam, would you like to explain the rule of cool?
Yeah, okay. So the rule of cool is this. Basically, if as DMs we think it, like you said, if we think it's plausible, if we think it's possible, if we just think it's the coolest shit imaginable, and you just gave us the most inane description of how you specifically want to do something, never be afraid to tell us if you want to try to do something, because we are the ones who decide whether it's possible or not.
The worst we can say is no.
No. Yeah. But in the rule of cool, which is kind of what me and him, some DMs, specifically me and him, do go by, is the fact that if it is cool, if we do think it can happen, and it would be cool if it did happen, we will allow it. We will just make it more than likely a DC that would be higher than probably hard, very hard, or hard, somewhere in that range. Some things are improbable. Like, I will admit, I've had players ask if they could leap off of a third-story building, hit a bad guy, and land without taking any damage. By typical rules of D&D, that could never happen.
But with the rule of cool, things
I
happen.
have something to
It
say to
can.
Doc real quick.
Yes?
Yes.
The worst that you can say is not only no, but you killed me because I did it.
Now, there are chances you fail your rule of cool and do die.
Yes. And that's the thing
That's all I'm saying. Like this is
if we think, and that's the thing is, me and Doc have both the same feeling. If we think you're just gonna die, we will tell you not to do it.
But if you
What
decide
if,
to do it
like,
regardless,
That's
I
on
have a
you.
scenario.
Yeah?
hit us with it.
So like, what if and I saw this on social media. So what if we're fighting and we have the ability to like mend water, like control water and stuff, and like
Sam, would you like to
bloods.
tell her the example from your own games?
I'll let her ask the question first. I'll let her finish it.
So like
Some,
we're fighting a
somewhat.
guy and he has a cut on his leg, and like blood has a certain percentage of water in it. Can I just like mend, like make him bleed out?
So, I will use
By
this as I will use this as an example from my own games. There's a specific spell that is simply a cantrip, which is, I'll describe that a little bit later, but just brief summary is, it is the weakest form of magic. Under standard rules, the spell, well, not really, the name doesn't matter, but under the typical rules of the spell, it would not allow you to use it in combat. But outside of combat, it can allow you to freeze water momentarily. I, via the rule of cool, have allowed my players to do things that spells typically say they can't. And one of those examples was using that spell in a combative format to, while not damaging the enemy, because usually I try to keep it less damaging or it'll do insignificant damage in that case. I allow them to still manipulate magical energy and still perform the act using the spell. The specific person froze a zombie solid, holding it in place using magic. It did do I think it was 1d4 cold damage, which is...
That was not even the one I was talking about.
Oh, which one were you talking about?
The vampire leg.
Oh, somebody also used an ability, the same spell, so as a description, vampires specifically, when they are killed, they transform into mist. I let them use the spell because mist is technically liquid, which is technically water. Even if it is a mist created from a person, there's still water in it. Example, you talked about blood. I let them manipulate it and literally steal the vampire's leg.
Now, of course, we had to make him do a check. But he
Yes.
passed the DC.
But that's the thing is, and like, if I think it's outside of the normal spell's parameters, I will make you do an additional roll on top of using the spell. But as a rule of cool, I allow you to manipulate, if you're a spellcaster, if you're somebody which a spellcaster is anyone who uses magic, as an example. If you are a spellcaster, you have the capacity to manipulate magic. So why wouldn't you be able to take a conventional spell and alter it to some degree of whim?
Now, we allow you to do the rule of cool. We as DMs get to do it as well.
Yes, that is one thing that I always tell my players. If something's cool and I think it should be plausible to happen, if you can do it, the enemy can do it.
That seems fair.
I've had players not feel that way.
Players are entitled to their own opinion, but as the DM, we can simply offer them the trash can.
Right.
Also, we call that the complaints department. I also realized I had floating cans. Bio, why are you leaving your floating cheesecake in cans around the
Careful now. You put that cheesecake.
Oh, something as a DM I do not.
Hey, I didn't get told I had to clean up after myself. I thought that was your job.
Well, it is. It's just when they float too high for me to grab, I can't get them.
Me and Sam as DMs do not like rules lawyers. We'll go over that later.
Yes, we'll go over what a rule. I'm gonna pretend to be a rules lawyer later just to torture Doc.
I'm going to shut down every attempt he has to tell me what a rule is by telling him the one excuse that gets me out of everything.
Which
as the DM, I disagree.
Because you said so.
Basically.
All right.
So I say so. Got it.
Yes. Any questions about what we just went over?
Yeah. Specific beats general. Give us a description of what you want to do, because sometimes, one thing I'm gonna add is sometimes you want to do something, but you're not sure how to do it as a player. Give us those specifics as a DM, and we can create the way for you to do it.
Another thing about Rule of Cool. If we like the idea so much, we may give you something called inspiration. Just the other day, I myself earned inspiration for describing an attack.
Yeah. If we think it's something particularly exceptional, that's how you can earn inspiration. Which I don't remember exactly how inspiration works in normal book.
We'll get there ourselves. Well, no, inspiration in the book gives you advantage.
Yeah, it gives you advantage on it. That's what it is. Which is the thing that we just went over, advantage and disadvantage. There is one more section to go over. if you're done, Doc.
Yes, I'm done talking.
Okay. The last one is rounding down or rounding up. Typically in D&D, you will always round down. And this is a very general rule. Whenever you divide a number in the game, you round down if it ends with a fraction, even if the fraction is 1/2 or greater. I personally I pretty much always use round down. I have met DMs who they round down for players and round up for monsters.
I do something even different.
And he does something even different, yeah, in his own games.
To not confuse anyone, I'll just simply say, when it comes to rounding up or down, I take, if it's a high number, I will round up. If it's a lower number, I round down.
Also, Doc, do you want me to read the 3 pillars of adventure?
Summarize them.
All right. So, the 3 pillars of adventure are exploration, social interaction, and combat. Exploration is literally what it sounds like. You are moving around, you are exploring new places, finding new things, all those wonderful things that, make an adventure feel grand. Sometimes those involve social interactions, which you guys will have to experience conversations with NPCs, or maybe try to convince them of something, or try to scare them so that they don't interfere.
We will be doing this tonight if we can get past character creation.
Now, on the other hand, the final one is combat. That is almost the most prolific thing in all of D&D, because it has the most abundance and most set of rules, I feel like. Combat can run smoothly, or it can run really terribly. And that's pretty much the gist of how it works.
Combat. The normal D&D campaign will have about 50% combat.
Yeah.
Around 35% exploration and about, I'd say more so social interaction, and the rest is exploration.
It also depends on how your DM runs this game. That's another thing. Some games which are more survival oriented might lack a lot of social interaction, but may focus heavily on exploration and have also a slight minor to combat. While ones that are like war oriented will of course have more than likely more combat and social interaction and then exploration will be a little bit lackluster.
And then you have ones that would focus on diplomacy.
Yes,
going from one nation to another.
Yeah. But yes, cheesecake is delicious. And yeah, no, Edgy said the worst your DM can say is no, not one. The cyber beholder leaks your IP address.
Damn, that's tragic.
And then of course, broken pie. Yeah, no, it is cheesecake. You're right. And yes, that is better. I agree with that.
All right.
No. The best cheesecake is not strawberry cheesecake. It's blueberry cheesecake. Fight me.
Blueberry is actually a damage type in D&D.
Well.
Oh yeah. Eventually we will go over damage types.
Anyways, I believe now we can get into character customization.
Actually, there technically is one more section. The Wonders of Magic.
Oh, my book didn't have that for a second.
Yeah. Well, the Wonders of Magic is basically literally just magic. Yes, and yes, there is blueberry damage, but we'll go into that. But for the most part, yeah, magic is magic. If something happens and it seems crazy and impossible, magic probably did it. If aliens come down from the sky, their ship powered by magic. If it's not something you can understand, or if it's something that seems like metaphysical or supernatural, it's magic.
So if something goes terribly wrong, it's magic's fault.
No, if something goes terribly wrong at your own hands, it's because you suck.
Well, I wasn't saying me in general. I was just saying if something in the world that we're in goes terribly wrong and it's none of our fault, it's magic.
Okay, so Edgy brought up a good point. If you serenade a monster, you have to sing IRL. That is not true. Some
We might give you
DMs,
that.
inspiration for it.
now on the other hand, you might gain inspiration, i.e. advantage, if you were to actually sing a song while as a part of the interaction.
I myself earned inspiration by giving a speech at a wedding.
Yes, he gave a speech, which earned him inspiration. An example of how I've earned inspiration is by actually composing a little short tune and then using it to win a bards contest. Which bards are like music, minstrels, bands, stuff like that.
Yes. But to basically sum up wonders of magic, anything that cannot be explained through science, alchemy, or natural order is quite possibly magical in nature. Yes, Broken, you can get rewarded for actually being in character. Who knew?
Yes. That's another thing is being in character can be a great reward. Giving something that giving that little bit extra. No. God, why is that? No, why is that song playing in my head now? Thanks, Edgy.
Edgy gets triple disadvantage.
Edgy gets negative inspiration.
He's actually the opposite of inspired. He
Yeah.
feels sluggish.
Yeah. He feels despair. He's not inspired. He feels despair. Edgy, you have the worst.
Alright, back on topic. We're already getting derailed like a proper D&D campaign.
But these are, I mean, a lot. It's not really we're getting derailed. We're going over explanations.
Yeah, me watching Among Us twerk is not an explanation.
I'm ignoring that part. We're not talking about that.
I mean, it can be.
But alright, at this point, we're getting into, character creation. Now, I find it funny that they talk about, like, all the extra stuff first, which I find really funny. When I usually try to teach somebody D&D, I don't start with the dice. I don't start with their race, their class. I start by telling them how their character sheet works.
I have actually a character sheet. I
Oh,
downloaded
good.
it.
Okay, so
Well,
then
I'm
yeah.
not
I don't.
using it today. I'm gonna
Because I'm
print it
lame.
out for the next week, but I have it in front of me so I
Now,
see what it looks like.
typically you would fill out something called a character sheet. There are a lot of formats for character sheets because there's a lot of formats and ways that you can do so.
Now, when it comes to creating a character, we will not be doing all of you at once. We will go down the list.
Yeah. Basically, actually I realized, Doc, we never really fully talked about this. What I was planning to do was to basically go over through each facet of them and go down the list. So, like, each one will get a race, a background, a class kind of
That's
scenario.
essentially what I'm talking about.
Okay, I wanted to make sure we were on the same page.
Dude, if we do it the way you thought I was talking about, it'd be too fucking slow.
Bro, I don't know. Some people can be stupid.
You calling
Yes,
Doc
you are.
stupid?
No, I'm saying some people can be stupid. I didn't expect Doc to be stupid,
You calling
but
Doc stupid?
there's a rare chance he could be.
Says the man whose intelligence is -3.
It's not -3, it's -2.
But he's 25 experience.
Get
Yes.
it right.
2.5 experience.
25.
No, he has 4.
Wait, Sam, I have a question.
Yes.
4.
I'm sending it to our group chat, but will no stop talking.
Is it a question about...
Would those work?
Yes, that's actually that is a slightly modified version of a character sheet, but yeah, those work.
Which one would be better? The one where the things are across the top?
Honestly, I don't know. Doc, what do you think? Which one of these do you think is a better example of a character sheet?
The second one's actually probably read straight from the book.
The second one's a little bit different. Typically, it's down the side. That one's across the top. It's a little different. But
Because I was going
I
to
kind of
use-
like the second one better than the first. The first allows for more writing, but the second one, I don't know, cause wait, the first one has like all of the skills divided based on it.
Here you go. This is what the traditional
Yeah.
sheet looks like.
And actually, for those watching, what I'll quickly do is I should have an image somewhere, but I'm not gonna look
Because
for it right now.
I forgot I had a stylus for my phone, so I could just like keep
Draw
editing
on
the
it,
photo.
or yeah. So an example of which I don't know how many of you can actually look at the stream. So if you want, you guys can see it in there, but also for the sake of the stream, I'm gonna put on. Would my OBS respond, please? Doc, you can start
No.
on. Actually, oh wait,
Did
no. Technically, I'm the one who's gonna be explaining ability scores.
Yes. Did you roll your intelligence check high enough?
Who, me?
Yes, to get it to
Oh,
work.
yeah, I forgot. I have to roll Arcana to manipulate the Arcana device known as a computer. I'm gonna make it a little smaller than that, but
Jesus Christ, you just took up my entire body.
yeah. So basically, this is a typical character sheet in Dungeons and Dragons. I'm just gonna put it up here.
Sam will actually fill out his character sheet live.
I will be. Well, technically, kind of, because I can't really draw on it, but we'll go over that. Wait, I could open Krita actually to fill it out.
Yes, just use Krita.
I'm just gonna
We can
open
teach them
Krita.
how to. Yeah, this is how we'll teach them how to do it. So you
Because
fuckers
yeah, I'll
in the
be making a
podcast.
character sheet with you.
Yes. So you fuckers in the podcast channel right now, open up Sam's stream and watch it live.
But
And if
I
you
can't do
and if,
that.
and if you pay $5, he'll actually
I'll
say
have to
"Ara."
pay $5 in order to do that.
He'll say "Ara Ara" in the Jingles voice.
I'm not. No, stop telling people I'll do that.
Where's my fucking wallet?
Stop trying to tell people that I will say cursed ass shit for $5.
I'm trying to get your ass paid.
I know, but still.
That's 3.
Is there like a website that we can go to that we can mess with character sheets, like typing it in?
D&D Beyond.
I wish there was.
Mythweaver,
Well, yeah, there's technically.
but
That's
you have to
not.
make accounts.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's The hard part is
Which I-
like free. Oh, are you talking about free sites? No.
Mythweaver is free.
I thought Myth. Oh wait, no, Mythweaver is free. I keep forgetting that's
It's
a
just
site. You use
yeah,
it.
it's free. It just requires an account.
Let me just quickly. Ow! Oh! Ow! Oh!
See, Edgy says Mythweaver, or sorry, not Edgy. Broken says Mythweaver is nice.
Mythweaver is nice. I just smacked myself in a delicate place with my book.
He actually failed his athletics
Good
check.
job.
Actually, it was a sleight of
We
hand
know this.
check. It slipped out of my hand.
Are you sure that wasn't a deck save at that point?
Maybe it was a deck save. We're just gonna confuse the fuck out of you guys right now while we're having this conversation. But alright, so for the bulk of it, ability scores are exactly this. I'm just gonna read out of the book at this point. Much of what your character does in the game depends on his or her 6 abilities. His, her, or their. Strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, wisdom, and charisma. Each ability has a score, which is a number you record on your character sheet. Now, in the case of where they'd be recorded is in the section that's on, like, that little area. Here, I'm just gonna make it big for a second. Just cover everyone up for a second. Pretty much an example of it is anywhere where there is, like, you can literally read strength on the screen, technically. These little boxes here. In the, on
Now,
the
there is a
leftmost
really
side.
funny way of describing scores.
And I will actually be going over, I'll be going over the tomato version.
Tomato version, what?
Yes.
Yep.
Mr.
Oh,
DM Jr.
Yes.
Oh,
Wait.
it's very conflicted of what you just said.
Let me find it. Okay, so example of this, which I'm also going to pull up the image and I'm going to send it to you guys. It was actually created by someone on Reddit, and I'm about to look up who it is. Does it say who it is though? It was created. Apparently, it was created by a Max Marcil. There's an actual
No,
cool
Edgy.
image.
There is no such thing as carrot damage.
No, there isn't. Sad.
Only blueberry.
I mean, they could be.
As an example, I'm going to post
There
said
could be if you
image
throw a
into
carrot
the
at somebody's
Dungeon
eye and it
Misfits
hits directly
chat.
for a D20.
There you go. There's the
Saying.
image. Okay. Character skills explained with tomatoes is something I'm gonna quickly go over. Actually, I'm also gonna hide the fucking character sheet because it's taking up my entire screen now. Alright. So, strength is being able to crush a tomato. Pretty simple. Dexterity is being able to dodge a tomato when it's thrown at you. Or catch the tomato in the air. Or throw the tomato yourself. Constitution is being able to eat a rotten tomato. Intelligence is knowing that a tomato is a fruit. Wisdom is knowing not to put a tomato in a fruit salad. Charisma is being able to sell a tomato-based fruit salad, also known as salsa.
Other people describe these scores as strength is your ability to smash someone's skull in. Dexterity is how well you can dodge getting your skull smashed in. Constitution is how well you take it. Intelligence is how to... Well, I don't know about the skull smashing one. How big your brain is in your skull.
Yeah.
And wisdom is how wise you are, of course. And charisma, everyone describes as your fuck stat.
God damn it. I was hoping you wouldn't go that one.
That's 4.
We don't have a swear limit.
Yeah, we don't have a swear limit today.
Fuck,
No, I'm just counting.
we shouldn't have told Hog.
It's 5.
Okay.
No, you fucking should have, because I'm about to go fucking ham on this shit.
So,
man.
we're gonna go... Yeah. We're gonna go over ability scores based on number. That's the next thing.
That's exactly right, Edgy.
What?
Intelligence is thinking how much it would hurt having your skull caved in.
Yeah. Wisdom
Intelligence
is...
Hog being able to not fucking swear.
Wisdom would be watching somebody else's skull get caved in and knowing how much damage that actually did to them.
Now,
So,
we're going to discuss ability score numbers.
yes. So, a typical score, a very typical and very generic score, are 10 or 11. They have no modifier to them. There is a mathematical equation that goes into like having your score created, but math is boring. I'm not going to go into it.
Essentially, 10 and 11 is average. You're
Yep.
an average person. You're not special.
And then, by every increment of 2, it goes either up or down. So as an example, 8 and 9 are -1, whereas 12 or 13 is a +1.
The normal maximum of a score you can have without any special thing happening is 20.
Yes.
That is a +5, and just like that, you can only have as low as a 1 in your score without being completely dead.
Yeah. Now and then that is a -5. Technically it's 0 and 1, but having a score of 0 usually means you're dead. Or you're incapable.
Yeah, 0 strength means you can't lift anything, not even your own body.
Now, under typical circumstances, yes, you can't exceed 20. There are some cases where a creature, or even yourselves, can exceed 20, but those are rare circumstances. They continue along that path of every 2 increases. So technically 20 and 21 are a +5. And the highest recorded typically is a 30, which is a +10. And yeah, that's a good example. Charisma is convincing someone that your head is made of rubber, so it can't be caved in, so they don't try. That would be a good example of that. But now actually moving on to creating your character. Some of the basics include race, like what race they are, what class they are, which is basically like what their skill set is. And then another one is picking a background for your character. Backgrounds are basically your or kind of like your origin story. Typically what I do as a DM is I have my players kind of give me an idea of what they want their character to be like, and then I try to help them create their character from that. But I feel like the first thing we should probably do, Doc, is go over some of like because right now we're only using players' handbook races.
There are 9 races.
Yeah. So I figured the first thing is we should go over what those races are, and I was gonna let you do that, Doc.
I was actually just going to name drop and give a short description of what they do.
Well, I was more referring to what racial traits are. On
Racial
page
traits are
17.
racial traits are what makes your race pretty much special.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Typically, some of the facets of it are typically all races have an ability score increase to some capacity. Your race has a predisposition to be better at something.
Unless you're human, then you're average at everything.
Yes, then yeah, humans are decidedly average at everything. There's also ages. In D&D, ages can be an interesting thing. Some creatures reach adult maturity at the age of, like, 15. Other ones don't reach it, aren't considered mature until they're 100 years old.
Fucking elves.
They're also... This one is one that I tend to ignore as a DM myself. Alignment. Some races are predisposed to have a certain, like, feel of the world, whether they'll adhere to the law or adhere to chaos, whether they'll be more inclined to be good people or evil people. I tend to ignore that one, though.
For the sake of everyone's sanity, we will ignore it, but I can give a short description.
Yeah.
There are, 9 alignments?
Yes, yeah, there are nine types of alignment.
You have your lawful good people. They uphold the law and are the goody two-shoes of the world.
Yeah, they'll basically use an example of they will follow the law, but for the good of the people kind of scenario.
They'll give everything they own to charity.
Yeah.
Lawful neutral people are people who follow the law but don't swing either way, really.
Typically, they will follow the law to the letter, regardless of whether it might hurt or help someone. It is the law to them.
Lawful evil people are people who can do evil acts while still in the limitations of the law, using loopholes.
Yeah, basically they're lawyers. An example of lawful evil would be a lawyer. They use every instance of how a law can screw you over and make their lives better.
Technically speaking, lawful can also mean a set code. It doesn't have to be the law. It doesn't.
Not every time the law... Yeah, technically another thing is described that a law is based on what they perceive, so it might not be the laws of the kingdom, but might be the personal laws of the person.
Now we have neutral. Neutral good. They'll do good or evil acts. Or, well, they'll do chaotic or lawful acts, but for good.
A good example of that is a goody two-shoes. Someone who will do anything for the good of somebody else, even if it would go against... It'd be like your best friend being willing to help you hide a body, even though it's illegal, to help hide a body, basically cover up a murder, because they want to help you.
Another great example is someone who is willing to sacrifice the world just for you.
Yeah. Or even sacrifice the entire world just for one person. Those
or
people would be...
sacrifice you for the entire world.
Yeah, that's another example of a good person, of a neutral good.
True neutral. You don't have an alignment anymore. Shut the fuck up.
Basically, you do everything for the you will typically do everything for the sake of whim and yourself at that point. You don't really have you don't necessarily feel attuned to being good, evil, lawful, chaotic. You just do, yeah, you're basically just doing things for the sake of yourself, or maybe for the sake of another person, just because that's what you want to do.
Neutral evil. You do evil shit, chaotically or lawfully.
Those are the epitome of, I will do everything in my power to make everyone miserable around me.
They are the I'll watch the world burn people.
Typically for their own amusement.
Now we get into everyone's favorite alignment, and usually the most played stupidly alignment.
Yeah.
Chaotic. Chaotic good. Robin Hood. Moving on.
There are other examples other than Robin Hood. I've heard people argue that Robin Hood isn't chaotic good,
I think he's lawful evil.
but another example is chaotic good is the example of you will do whatever you want, anything you want, for the sake of
Usually
good.
for the good.
Yeah, usually for the good of others, which typically means you cause chaos to help others.
Chaotic neutral. Same as lawful neutral, but you don't follow a law or code. You just do anything.
Yeah, it'd be you're very whimsical. You do everything based on maybe sometimes arbitrary reasons. So like I often have players get confused as to whether they're chaotic neutral or true neutral. And the way I describe true neutral is you don't do it for so like in the terms of chaotic neutral, a lot of them are very emotional characters, at least portrayed by in stories. They are emotional characters who do things for the sake of how they feel, whereas law is more logic, is another way to describe it. A true neutral person will literally do something with no heart, no logic, just literally just do it because they can.
Jingles is chaotic neutral.
Yes, Jingles is chaotic neutral because he does everything based on an emotional response and sometimes his own amusement.
Jingles will warn you that you're about to die, but Jingles
I
will
like
also help you
Jingle.
die.
Yeah, Jingles will help you die. And then the final one.
Chaotic evil. You are typically the most evil person in the world because you don't give a shit what stops you.
These are the individuals, typically your BBGs, which are your big bad evil guys, the guys that you fight at the end of a story, or like the guys who are in stories that you read who are like the pinnacle of evil, a lot of them are chaotic evil. They are just doing acts of evil to watch the world burn, to watch everything be destroyed.
They're the villains without a reason.
Yeah.
Typically a DM will never let you play a chaotic evil character.
Certain campaigns don't work well with evil characters, sadly. One thing to keep in mind is D&D is a hero's tale kind of a hero's tale kind of story.
Yes. Me and Sam completely disregard the chaotic, neutral, and lawful alignments. They suck, don't use them.
Honestly, I would rather have you just have a character with a personality and not some arbitrary...
Not a Twitter feed questionnaire.
Yeah, not a Twitter feed questionnaire, because that's what it's turned into. Now, one thing I will tell you is that typically if your character is logical, they lean towards lawful. If they are emotional, they will lean towards more chaos. And if they're just kind of this really weird in between, like they don't really lean towards either, they're typically neutral. And then good and evil is very arbitrary at times.
And mostly it's just if you kill a child, you can still be lawful. No, Edgy. No.
No. Well,
there are also two
actually,
other
wait. Did the law dictate that you had to kill the child? Was it lawful execution?
We're not going down this route. There are also two other alignments: lawful, chaotic, chaotic, lawful.
No, those are not alignments. Fuck off. We're not doing that.
There's also good, evil, and evil, good.
I will kill you.
You're going to be a rules lawyer later tonight. I have to get my jabs in somewhere.
I know.
Chaotic, lawful.
Hilarious.
You follow the law. No one knows what fucking law.
You're a fucking
Lawful,
asshole.
chaotic. You follow the law chaotically. You built an orphanage. You're also the reason
And then
that
burn it
orphanage.
down.
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah. It was for
good.
tax. It was for tax fraud.
Evil good's the one where you do the right thing for the wrong reasons, right?
Evil good? Yes. You do all the despicable things imaginable, but for the right reason.
Good evil's the ones where you're the superhero.
Yeah, good evil is the one where you are trying to do so much good in the world that it turns out that you're doing the wrong thing in the end. Like,
And then you have neutral.
yeah. Which is just true neutral. It's just true neutral.
Does everyone understand alignments and why we'll never let you play an alignment?
Yes.
I don't want it to be an instrument typically I've had players use it as an instrument to explain why they're doing something that
They use it as as a fallback excuse for bad behavior.
yes. And to try to get rid of bad behavior, we don't care about your alignment. Just yeah.
Mr. Judge, my client says nuh-uh.
The fuck you mean? Nuh-uh.
A couple other things, kind of a fast thing, is like size, height. That's just your height. Weight is also a factor in D&D in a lot of cases, whether it's the weight of your character or equipment.
Size. Player characters can only be medium or small.
What?
Unless affected by a spell.
Unless affected by a spell.
Now,
So if I'm a fat guy, I can't be large?
So, as an example, typically, medium-sized creatures are anywhere from 4 to 8 feet tall. Now, I have it to where it's 5 to 10 feet tall.
No, 10 feet does mean you're a large creature.
Yeah.
It's 9'11", which is not the 9'11" people are thinking about.
9 foot 11 inches in terms of
Height.
I'm not going to convert that to the metric system. You can do that on your own.
That is roughly fuck you centimeters and fuck you inches.
Another factor is the reason why I usually go 5 to 9 foot 11 inches is because there are times when it's like, oh yeah, no. So my character is 4'8", but he also weighs 300 pounds. Is he a medium or a small creature?
We don't really include weight in your size category.
Yeah, no, we just basically go, no, you're short, you're small, you're tall, you're medium.
Like my current human is 8 foot tall.
Yep.
So weight has nothing to do with the medium or small.
Weight has nothing to do with your size
in
category.
terms of D&D, unfortunately it does, because a dwarf can be 4'6", which is technically considered a small creature in some cases. But because he weighs 230 pounds, he's considered a medium creature. Whereas the halfling that can technically be 4'2", which actually no, yeah, the first one should have been medium. The second one, then you have a halfling, a short creature that's 4'2". Now he's technically in the medium category, but he's a small creature because he only weighs 70 pounds.
Essentially, yes.
So
most DMs don't give a shit.
Most DMs just go, no, you're small or you're big. You're small or you're medium. That's it. Just don't argue with me.
Now, if we were playing as your mother, she'd be huge.
She'd be extra, extra, extra large.
And a couple other things are speed, which is just how fast your character moves. Every turn in the game is roughly 6 seconds. Well, I shouldn't say every turn. I should say every round in the game is in 6 seconds.
And action is almost instantaneous in those 6 seconds.
Yeah. Speed is how fast you can move within those 6 seconds. Most players have the same speed at the start of the game. There are exceptions.
Some races have different speeds.
Yeah, small creatures typically move at a 25 foot speed in 6 seconds, whereas most medium creatures move at a 30-foot speed. And
the only exception to have a higher speed is the wood elf.
Yeah, and we'll go over that soon. Like, remember how we talked about special racial traits? Well, they have one. The next thing is languages. Do you want to do languages, Doc?
Languages in D&D are kind of arbitrary, but important. There are dozens of languages, and some of them have predecessor languages that you can learn and get a basic understanding of other languages.
Yeah.
Like Primordial, that can give you a basic understanding of Terran, Aquan,
Terran, Aquan, Auran, and Ignan, yeah. Basically the 4 elements.
Sylvian, or...
Sylvan.
Sylvan, that's pretty much
the
Elvish,
language,
and it's the Fae language.
Yeah, it's the language of the Fae. Those are some examples. And then we have sub-races, which is probably sometimes confuses players the most when they first start playing the game.
Oh, no, edgy, in my world, French doesn't exist.
There are tons of languages, and thankfully, French is completely optional. Actually, in my world, elves speak French.
I thought your elves were German.
No, no, well, no, those are only the high elves are German. What you don't realize is the wood elves are French.
And we're gonna cut this bit off here because it can get extremely TOS real quick.
I know people tend to get really butthurt about if you assign real world languages to races. So yeah.
But then they are the people who are like, yeah, my dwarf is actually Scandinavian, Nordic.
Yeah.
Anyways, moving on from languages, there is now
Sub races.
races and sub races.
Yep.
All right, in D&D, there are 9 races in the player's handbook.
Yep.
We have your dragonborn, your dwarf, your elf, your gnome, your half elf, your human, your half orc, and tiefling.
Yep.
I will describe dragonborns first. Dragonborns, born of dragons, as their name proclaims, the Dragonborn walks proudly through a world that greets them with fearful incomprehension. Shaped like draconic gods of the gods or dragons themselves, Dragonborn originally hatched from dragons' eggs as a unique race, combining the best attributes of a dragon and humanoids. Some Dragonborns are faithful servants to true dragons. Others form the ranks of soldiers in great wars, and still others find themselves adrift, with no clear calling in life.
Now, I will now give a description actually that was written by someone. It's a little bit of like a little bit of story prompt to the Dragonborn. Her father stood on the first of 3 stairs that led down from the portal, unmoving. The scales of his face had grown paler around the edges, but clanless Mahen still looked as if he would wrestle down a dire bear himself. His familiar well-worn armor was gone, replaced by violet-tinted scale armor with bright silvery traces. There was a blazon on his arm as well, the mark of some foreign house. The sword at his back was the same, though the one he had carried since yeah, since even before he had found the twins left in swaddling at the gate of Arashvayem. For all her life, Faraday had known that reading her father's face was a skill she'd been fortunate to learn. A human couldn't spot the shift of her eyes, or the Havilars would certainly see only the indifference of a dragon in the clanless Mahen's face. But the shift of scales, the arch of a ridge, the set of his eyes, the gape of his teeth, her father's face spoke volumes. But every scale of it, this time, seemed completely still, the indifference of a dragon, even to Faraday.
To give you an idea of what Dragonborns can do, they get a +2 to their strength and a +1 to their charisma. Much like the mighty dragons of old, they were strong and charismatic.
Yeah.
Age, they grow quickly and become mature at the age of 10 and can live to about 80. Yes, halfling was mentioned. Listen, open your ears.
I didn't hear it. My bad.
Bad player.
Oh, did she message
Anyways.
asking about halfling?
Yes. Alignment. We don't care about this. We are not going into detail. Size. Dragonborns are taller and heavier than humans, standing well over 6 feet and weighing 250 pounds. They are medium-sized creatures. Speed is 30.
Yeah.
Dragon ancestry. You are distantly related to a particular kind of dragon. Choose a type from the list below. This determines the damage and area of your breathed weapon and the type of resistance you gain.
So, typically you can divide dragons into 2 types of subraces, known as chromatic or metallic. Chromatic being color, metallic being a type of metal. Typically, all of them have both a metal and a color that associates with a certain element type. In the PHB, they are limited to certain kinds, but there are extended versions of it that we will eventually go over later. But for right now, we're just sticking with the player's handbook.
Now, technically speaking, if you want to play a stereotypical dragonborn, if you're playing colorful dragons, you are more evil. If you're playing metallic, you're more lawful. Black, they have an acid breath attack. Blue is lightning, brass is fire, bronze is lightning, copper is acid, fire is gold, green is poison, red is fire, silver is cold, and white is cold.
Some of them have breath attacks that go in a cone, while others will have breath attacks that, basically some of them when they breathe an element, because these elements that we were talking about are both a resistance they have, which we'll go over that in a second, and a breath weapon, which go a little bit more into that now.
Some are a 5-foot by 30-foot line.
Yep.
And the other is a 15-foot cone.
They will have different saves, which will also go into that in some cases. Most of them rely on a similar save type, some of them do not.
For almost all of them but 3, it is a dex save. The other 3 are con.
Yeah, which we went over the ability scores before. Constitution, con is constitution, dex is dexterity.
Damage resistance. You have damage resistance to the type associated with your ancestry. Self-explanatory.
Yes.
Languages. You speak Common and Draconic.
Common is the language that pretty much everyone in the world can speak that language. There are very few instances. It's essentially English.
English if you're English, yada yada yada.
Well, no, it's now become one of the most common languages across the entire world. And yes, there are different types of English, but most people still speak some degree of English.
Draconic is the language of the dragons.
Yes.
Enough said. I'm not going to go into full detail about a lot of these races because some of them might be a little difficult for you guys to play.
Yeah.
I would say avoid the Dragonborn.
And the most thing is, avoiding the Dragonborn is just a good one because it can be confusing, but if you still want to play a Dragonborn, don't feel like you can't play one for the purposes of this. Like, all of these races are playable. Some of them can be a little more confusing, so you might need more information. Once we go over all of the races, also, if you guys want a particular race and learn more about it, we can explain it a little bit more.
Dwarves, they get an increase to their constitution. They live to the age of 50. Or they become mature at the age of 50, but live about 350 years.
Yeah.
They are medium-sized creatures with a walking speed of 25, but their speed is not reduced by wearing heavy armor. They have dark vision. Now, people most commonly confuse dark vision. Dark vision is you can see in dim light within 60 feet as if it was bright light, and in darkness if it was dim light.
An example of light. So there are technically different categories of light within the real world and within the game. You have light, you have dim light, you have darkness, you also have things called bright light and daylight. Those are basically your 5 terms.
Dwarven resistance. You have advantage on saving throws against poison and resistance against poison damage. Yes, alcohol is poison.
Yes. So yeah, basically, yeah, alcohol is a poison. It is a form of poison. Like, that's just what it is.
Says D&D.
Yeah,
Dwarven
says
combat
D&D.
training. You have proficiency with the battle axe, the hand axe, the light hammer, and the war hammer.
Yeah, they just kind of basically, it's not even like oh yeah, no, I just know how to use those things, I'm dwarf. It is typical for dwarves to be trained in the arts of these weapons by their
from
parents.
birth.
Yeah, usually from birth.
Tool proficiency. They're just naturally good with proficiency with artisan tools of your with an artisan tool of your choice.
Yeah.
Smith tools, brewer's tools, or mason's tools. So you can either carve the stone, brew the brew, or beat the metal.
Yeah. And like I said, these are also examples of, more than likely, dwarves have a hard tradition of alcohol of metallurgy, and of mason work. So they will literally teach their children these skill sets.
As a dwarf, you are very good at telling if a stone has an origin. You're proficient in the history skill when it comes to stone. You also get
It's
that.
actually double your proficiency.
Technically, you get expertise in
Yeah.
history when it's pertaining to stone.
Yep.
You can speak Common and Dwarvish.
Yeah.
We're not even going to try to speak Dwarvish.
But in this case, the reason why, if you remember at the beginning, he said dwarves have only gain an ability score increase to Constitution. That's because dwarves have sub-races.
The two sub-races of a dwarf are the hill and mountain. Hill dwarves get a wisdom increase of 1. But they also get +1 HP, and +1 HP every time they gain 1 level.
Yes. They're a little more sturdy than other dwarves. Who is watching a video?
Mr. Hog.
Hog. What you doing?
Oh,
What you
don't worry about it.
doing?
Would you like to share with the rest of the
Already got
class?
it.
Yeah, would you like to
I've told you this before, that I got my character already built out.
I know, but it doesn't hurt to listen.
Mountain Dwarf, your strength increases by 2. This is one of the only classes that gets 2 increases of 2.
Yep.
Or races.
Technically, the funnier part is that this is something that was eventually changed, but it's in the book like this.
Dwarven armor training. You have proficiency with light and medium armor.
Yeah. Now, part of the reason why in the original iteration when they printed the books, because technically it did get changed based on some arbitrary ruling that they decided later, because people were complaining about it. But in the book, it is literally they get a strength of +2, and they have proficiency with light and medium armor. It was basically deemed that those two things, because technically in order to receive +1 to your health, and a +1 to your health every turn, you'd technically, remember how we talked about ability scores? You would need 2 additional points in Constitution to be able to gain that extra health. That's why they kind of arbitrarily decided that, yes, the other type of dwarf gets a +2 to strength, not a +1.
Technically speaking, this goes against their ruling. This is a specific rule, which beats general.
Exactly.
Sam, I'll let you explain elves, because I won't touch them with a 10-foot pole.
Some people don't enjoy elves because they're assholes.
Nice.
But for the most part, elves are alive. Sometimes woodland, sometimes sometimes a woodland race, sometimes a plain race, sometimes they are voyagers, sometimes there's a lot of things that go into the elves.
There are only 3 sub-races of elf in the PHB, though.
In the PHB, yeah. Elves at base get a dexterity increase of +2. They age in an interesting way. Elves will reach physical maturity at around the same time a human would. But they are not considered mentally mature until they are at least 100 years old. And they can live to be around 750.
Most of the time, if you see an old lore keeper, it is an elf.
Yeah. Skipping alignment, because we're not going to do that. Size. Elves range from about 5 to well over 6 feet tall. And have slender builds. They don't weigh much because of their slender nature. And they're medium size.
To explain this to Hog, elves are your twinks.
Yeah, elves are twinks. They typically move at a 30-foot speed, but you'll learn later there's a rule that bypasses that. They're accustomed to the dark and seeing in the dark, so they have dark vision. There's also a type of elf that takes this to a next level. Like we said, dark vision allows you to see in the dark up to dim light of 60 feet. They also have keen senses, so they have automatic proficiency, which means that they are capable of using it.
Night vision?
What, keen senses?
No,
dark
you
vision?
guys keep dark vision. Isn't
So
that just night vision?
no. Okay, so like
No.
it depends, because when you're talking about night vision, like wearing night vision goggles, no. What dark creatures with dark vision are actually capable of is they can see in the dark, similar to the way that there are some humans who can. Like there are some humans that when the light gets dim, they can't see anything. They're basically night blind. In D&D, typically unless a race has dark vision, they are night blind.
Gotcha.
Or
Damn, that sucks.
and that's one of the things that does suck in D&D a little bit. Dim light automatically gives you disadvantage to perform checks. If you have dark vision, it takes away that disadvantage, and then technically it's listed that when in the dark, if you don't have dark vision, you still have that disadvantage, but you also have a higher DCs become higher. But if you have dark vision, you no longer have disadvantage in dim light, but you still have disadvantage when in darkness. A lot of people make the misconception that yeah, it's just night vision. No, it's not. That's not how the mechanic works.
Elves also get 2 other things
Yes.
other than their subrace.
Yeah. So they get the keen senses, which gives them proficiency in the perception skill. They just automatically get it. There are some other races that also get proficiencies in skills. And then you have Fey ancestry. You have advantage on saving throws against being charmed, and magic cannot put you to sleep. There are certain spells that will render you that will basically just knock you unconscious using magic. They are immune. Also, if something tries to use a spell to charm you, which a charm is a condition, we'll go over those in a little bit too. You have advantage against it. They also have the ability. They are also a weird one. Instead of sleeping, they do something called a trance. Elves don't need sleep. Instead, they meditate deeply, retaining semi-consciousness. Uh, Typically, a race in D&D has to sleep 8 hours a night. Just how that works.
This is called a long rest.
Yep, it's referred to as a long rest. Whereas elves can do it in 4. They only have to trance for 4 hours. While meditating, they can dream, but another thing about it is while they do gain the effects of a long rest in 4 hours, but also keep in mind they're in a semi-conscious state, meaning they still technically can be surprised. You can sneak up on them. They're still unconscious, technically.
There is only one race in D&D, which is not Player's Handbook, that can be alert while asleep.
Yeah. And then in their case they know Common and English, and not English, Elvish. Sorry, Common and Elvish, the language of the elves. They have subraces. They have 3 of them. You have High Elves, Wood Elves, and Dark Elves, or called Drow.
Everyone shits on the drow.
Yeah, their society based on the book is a little weird. So, High Elves gain a +1 to intelligence. They also gain Elven weapon training, which makes them proficient in the long sword, short bow, and longbow. They also get access to magic, basically inherently, kind of. They are taught magic. They are at least taught a minor magical ability over the course of their 100 years. In this case, it is a cantrip. They get to pick one spell from the wizard spell list, which wizard is a class in the game, and they use intelligence as their spellcasting ability for it. They can also choose one extra language. Apparently high elves have the capability of just maybe they've traveled more in terms of things, so they just have learned another language. You then have wood elves who get a +1 to their wisdom score. They also gain elven weapon training of longsword, short bow, and longbow. They're also fleet of foot, which means instead of the typical 30 foot that I was talking about their speed being, these ones move at 35 feet. Which you don't think is very fast until you start stacking the increments as someone's moving. It's eventually a build-up, and they get bullshit to that degree. They also have Mask of the Wild. They're capable of hiding even when only lightly obscured by foliage, heavy rain, falling snow, mist, or other natural phenomena. And finally, you have dark elves or drow. First of all, they get a bonus to charisma. Uh, they have superior dark vision, which allows them to see 120 feet rather than 60. Unfortunately, they do have a defect. They have something called sunlight sensitivity. They have disadvantage on attack rolls and on wisdom perception checks that rely on sight basically when they are or you are in sunlight. Uh, it's kind of sad, but they also get innate magic as well. They have drow magic. They automatically know the dancing light cantrip. When they reach 3rd level, they get access to a spell called Fairy Fire, and then when they reach 5th level, they get a spell called Darkness. They also
The
have
first the first 2 spells they learn are kind of counterintuitive.
one is to create light, and the other one is to literally bathe someone in an aura so that you can see them in the dark. Or see the unseen can also be an example of Fairy Fire. They also have drow weapon training, which is slightly different. They are trained in rapier, short sword, and hand crossbows. So they are a little different than their elven brethren, to various degrees.
Technically, some people consider dark elves their own fucking race.
Some people do. Is there any other ones you want me to read real quick so you don't have to read them yourself?
If you could take halfling, human, and half orc, I'll do gnome and tiefling.
Alright. Halflings.
I was going to do gnome first because it comes next in
Okay.
their order.
Do it then.
Gnomes. They are your gnomes.
Racism. Yeah.
Why'd you say it like that though? Gnomes.
And gnomes get an increase to their intelligence of by 2. They live about the same age as humans. They, settle into adult life around 40, and they can live to 350, but they can reach 500. Gnomes have that weird ass age. Anyways, their size, they're small.
Gnomes.
Their speed is 25. They have dark vision. We've already explained this twice.
Yep.
They have advantage on all intelligence, wisdom, and charisma saves against magic.
Which is gnome cunning.
And they speak common and the disgusting language of gnomes.
Yeah, they speak gnomish.
There are 2 types of gnomes, forest and rock. Forest gnomes get a dexterity of 1. They get the minor illusion cantrip, and their intelligence is the spellcasting modifier for it. It's called Natural Illusionist. They can also speak with small beasts, though they cannot understand what they say.
So it's kind of weird, because speak with small beasts is kind of a very particular thing. Basically, they don't actually speak to them in the terms of, like, words. They use, like, gestures or,
Basically, there's fucking what's her name from that one princess movie where she can communicate with the animals by singing and dancing.
yeah. Or an example is, if you guys have ever watched, Emperor's New Groove, or anything like that. If you ever watched that show or movie, there's a guy in the show who can talk to squirrels.
Well, his is an actual squirrel language.
It turned into a show.
Yeah,
it did.
I think it had a show. Anyways, next up is the rock gnome. They get a constitution of 1. They get artificer lore whenever they make an intelligence check related to magical, alchemical, or technological items. They get expertise in it, double their proficiency bonus. Tinkerer. They get proficiency with artisan tools. Only the tinker tools.
Yeah.
Using those tools, they can spend an hour and 10 gold pieces worth of materials to construct a tiny clockwork device, AC 5, 1 HP. It functions for 24 hours unless they spend an hour to repair it.
Some other things they can also make are a fire starter or a music box.
Yes.
Now, these
And
are
they
just
can use,
Now, we'll say this: these are just examples. They can do other stuff with their tinkering, but these are the three primary examples.
honestly, none of these really matter except for the fire starter, which can start a fire.
Yeah, I've had players use the music box in really interesting ways before.
I've never seen them use it. It does technically have the prestidigitation cantrip on it.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's gnomes explained, and
What's
I'll
next?
finish up with technically half orcs, halflings, humans.
All right. Do you want me to take over for half orcs?
Yeah, you get the next three. Let's try to keep it a little brief because we are running out of time.
I know we are running out of time, so I am. Well, that's the thing. Is part of
I've
it's just we had to
already-
explain certain things. What?
I have already
Okay.
explained that this is probably already thought that this is probably going to be like a 3-hour stream.
Probably is. We can go over time if we want to.
So half orcs. To describe first.
Hold
I'm
on,
gonna...
wait.
What?
For all of us that are in here,
Yeah.
out of the list of characters that you've already given,
Yeah.
has everybody picked a character that they would like to use?
Basically, what Bio's asking, has everyone found a race so far that they like?
Well, my thing is like, you guys haven't mentioned the one that I was going to pick. But
We are getting to it.
And that's the
sake
thing.
of
is-
the video, what races do we want? And then you can explain those if they haven't been explained yet.
The harder part, the reason why I wanted to read off all of the races from the player's handbook is because most people who are experiencing D&D for the first time, or people who might be watching this to try to learn, won't know what any of the races are. So how would they pick a race while knowing nothing?
Essentially, that is correct. To keep half
Honestly, they're about to
brief,
talk the fucking race I want to do. So
All right.
half
So-
orcs basically
Yeah.
don't have subrace, so we don't have to worry about a subrace for
Which,
half
yeah,
orc.
really, we've gone over the harder ones. We basically narrowed it down to a lot of the ones that don't have subraces, which is nice. In this case, you have half orcs. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. They are a strong, like, hardy race, so they immediately get a +2 to strength, and they get a +1 to constitution. Their size is around 5 to well over 6 feet tall. They're medium. They have 30-foot movement speed. They do get dark vision. They also gain something called menacing, which gets them proficiency in intimidation, kind of like how elves get proficiency in perception. They also have a unique ability called relentless endurance. Typically, when a player is dropped to zero HP, they fall unconscious and then have to try to resist the effects of death. A half-orc is unique. Once a day, they are capable of just springing back to life with only 1 hit point. They also have something called savage attacks. On a critical hit, which is I'll describe that a little bit. They gain an additional damage die to their hit. And languages are usually common and orcish. That's
Technically, if
pretty
you
simple.
speak orcish, you can speak dwarvish.
Yeah. Next on the list would be technically half elves, I believe.
Oh, I forgot all about them.
Yeah, I know. You always forget about elves. But yeah, half elves are literally just half something, half elf. They take on the elven traits, kind of like a half orc is half orc, half whatever else. In their case, they get a +2 to charisma and a +1 to to 2 other ability scores. So this is another exception to where it's typically 2 and 1. These ones get 2, 1, and 1, and you get to pick those 2 ones out of any of your stats.
You
No,
cannot
they
stack
can't be
them.
charisma. They age similar to humans, hitting adulthood around 20, and they live to be roughly 180. Size, pretty much human in size, nothing really changes there. Their speed is 30, they have dark vision, they also have Fey ancestry, which means they can't be put to sleep with magic, and they have resistance to being charmed. They also gain something called skill versatility, because they do typically live a little bit longer than humans. They might have picked up a few more skills than them. Those are basically, you pick 2 random skills and you are proficient with them. They typically speak Common and Elvish, but also get to pick an additional language on top of that. And then we have technically humans, which are the most generic race.
Technically, halflings next.
Oh wait, yeah, okay. Here, I'll go to halflings.
Halflings. Yeah, you're explaining it.
All right. Halflings are stout folk, small folk, half the size of a human is best described. Uh, they do have subraces, but they have pretty simple subraces. They only have Lightfoot and Stout. But in their case, they start off by having a +2 to dexterity. They age at the rate of a human, reaching adulthood around 20, and generally live into the middle of his or her second century. They are a small creature, which they're one of the few small creatures, along with gnomes, that are in the player's handbook. Speed-wise, they are slower. They are only at 25 feet. They do have an ability called Lucky. If you roll a 1 on a d20, you can re-roll it once, but you have to use that die. They can do this anytime they roll a 1. They are brave. They have advantage on saving throws against being frightened. They also have halfling nimbleness, which allows them to pass through creatures of larger size. They can pass through their space, willing or unwilling as that creature may be. They also know Common and Halfling. Lightfoot Halfling, which is one of the subrace, get a +1 to Charisma. They also are naturally stealthy and can attempt to hide even when they're only obscured by, say, another creature in front of them. They can technically hide in your shadow. Keep that in mind, because getting stabbed in the back by a halfling is one of the most obnoxious things you'll experience.
I've had a player kill someone like that.
Yeah. You then have the stout halflings, which are a little bit more hardy. They have a +1 to Constitution. They also have advantage on saving throws against poison and have resistance against poison. Some state that possibly the stout halflings are actually part dwarf.
They're the alcoholic halflings.
Yeah. What comes after that? Human?
Human.
Human are pretty much the easiest to describe. There are a lot of types of human, but no matter what type it is, doesn't really matter. When it comes to their traits, they get a +1 to literally every score.
Every human is basic in your
Yeah.
basic.
Humans reach adulthood in their late teens and live less than a century, typically. Size-wise, well, I hope you guys would know what the size of a human is. And they're medium creatures. Speed, 30. Languages, they get Common and 1 extra language of their choice. There's also a variant human type thing, which that replaces your, it replaces your +1 and everything. Instead, you would get something different, which is an ability score to 2 different. Basically, you pick 2 of them and you add 1 to it, and then you also get a single skill, and then you also get something called a feat.
We won't worry about feats unless you pick this race.
Yeah, we won't worry really about feats until much later.
And
then-
finally, tieflings.
Which I'll let you describe that, because that's your favorite race.
I fucking hate tieflings, and I fucked myself because they have like 9 different sub races.
Hey. Turns out, in the player's handbook, they don't.
They don't. Oh wait, that's Mordecaiden's tone.
Yes. That's the nice part, is in the handbook they do not. And also I kind of
Okay.
figured that part of me kind of figured that we would end up having to basically do an explanation of D&D and then have you guys even create your characters next thing, because there's a lot to go over. There are a lot of races, a lot of classes, a lot of things to go
And
over.
like we can go an extra hour if people agree.
Yeah. But
anyways,
yeah, tieflings.
Charisma score increase of 2. Age, same as a human, maybe a few years longer. Size,
Don't forget
medium.
intelligence of +1, because remember, this is just, there's no differences.
That's a sub-race feature. I will get to that shortly.
They don't have sub-races in the player handbook.
Technically, Bloodline of Asmodeus is a sub-race. It does not include itself in the tiefling. I know what I'm talking about. I'm the DM here. Speed, 30. Dark vision. Hellish resistance. They get resistance to fire damage. They speak common and infernal. There are 2 devil languages. Infernal is devils, abyssal is demons.
Yeah.
Bloodline of Asmodeus. Intelligence increase of 1. Infernal Legacy. You know the Thaumaturgy cantrip. Once you reach 3rd level, you can cast Hellish Rebuke once at 2nd level. Once you reach level 5, you can cast Darkness once. You must finish a long rest to regain these spells. Charisma is your spellcasting for these spells.
Yeah.
I believe that is all the races of D&D.
From the Player's
Now,
Handbook.
we are going to go down the list. Mr. Bio, what race would you like to play?
Wood elf.
Okay.
Hogmaster, what race would you like to play?
Half orc.
Phoenix, what race would you like to play?
Halfling,
What kind?
Lightfoot.
Okay.
Sam Slimmy, what race would you like to play?
So I have a funny question. If I'm a half
Instantly
elf.
denied.
Well, if I'm a half elf, can't I pick what other race I am, and wouldn't that affect it?
In the PHB, no.
No cheating, bitch.
But no.
Actually, a house rule, as a house rule of mine, you get 1 additional trait if you have another parent that isn't human. But that's not PHB.
Yeah, we're using PHB because no, I've actually had players try to argue with me for 30 minutes over the fact that yeah, they want to be something different.
And Mr. Shroomis, my favorite D&D player since you've been the quietest. What do you want to play?
I would like to be a rock gnome.
Okay. I expect you all to write this down. I am not your mother. I'm not writing it for you.
But you're my doctor.
But mom.
Oh, and actually, to answer the question, the race I'm gonna play is half orc because I'm gonna make your life miserable.
You can't double up. Hog already called that one.
Wow, that's rude. No, you
Bitch
can't.
ass.
You can double up. Some DMs just hate it.
Yet some DMs will tell you that 2 people can't be the same race.
All right, now
No,
we'll go
actually,
into classes.
I'm gonna be very generic. I'm gonna go human.
Let me guess.
Do
You're
we
going to be a
have
fighter.
to say like our name and stuff, or can we just write it down?
You do not need to address. Well, no. I'm going to ask you to describe your character near the time when it comes to that.
Yeah.
Which includes their name.
Yes.
Now, Artificer is not Player's Handbook. Neither is the Blood Hunter. So, the classes you can pick from are Barbarian, Bard, Cleric, Druid, Fighter, Monk, Paladin, Ranger, Rogue, Sorcerer, Warlock, and Wizard.
So, quick overview, because I'm just gonna give you a brief description of
You're level 1,
each of
you
them.
don't get many traits.
Yeah. Basically, barbarians, a fierce warrior of primitive background who can enter a battle rage. They have a D12 as their health die, because each class, basically, some of them have more vitality than others. Unfortunately, they train their body so that they could take more damage. Wizards are the weakest, pretty much.
Barbarians, you get Rage. That's
Yeah.
it. You also get to add your Constitution to your AC. We'll talk about AC later.
Yeah. Their primary abilities are Strength. They have proficiency in saving throws such as Strength and Constitution. Saving throws are essentially when shit hits the fan and you have to react quickly to a scenario. Typically, that's a saving throw.
Sam, make me make me a dex saving throw, not to fall flat on your face.
And in that case, I'd roll a d20. Let's say I decide to be a bard, so I have proficiency in dexterity saving throws.
You have disadvantage.
Okay, I have disadvantage because something else happened.
No, as a DM, I just don't like you.
Oh, yeah. Basically, my DM doesn't like me. That's what happened.
You tripped on your dick.
I still get a 16.
Does not beat the DC.
Yeah. So in this case, technically, it's an 18. But yeah, in this case, yeah, it didn't beat it. So I fall.
Into a pit of spikes, and your character is now dead.
If your DM's a dick, he can actually do that to you. Have instant death. It's called true damage.
Yes. Technically, falling off a cliff is not true damage.
No, it's bludgeoning as you hit the ground.
Anyways, barbarians. Does everyone understand barbarian?
Yeah.
Yeah.
As an example, well, the thing is, armor and weapons. They are proficient in light and medium armor, shields, simple, and martial weapons. Quick fire off of, there are 3 types of armor: light, medium, heavy. Light
Most
armor,
barbarians don't even wear armor.
typically they don't, they can though. Light armor is armor that's like leather, cloth, stuff like that. It is armor where when you go to make your armor class, which is your basically how hard it is to hit you, with light armor you add your dexterity modifier plus a value decided by the type of light armor you are wearing.
Medium armor is scale mail, chain mail.
Yeah.
You add your dex mod plus the armor. Only you can add +2 from your dex mod.
Yes.
You cannot
You
add
can only
more
add
dex
up
mod.
to +2 to it. So like technically a rogue wearing light armor can sometimes have higher, because say you have a 20, you have a 20 ability score. That's a +5. You then add that to your leather armor, which gives you 11 plus 5, got 16. Now oddly enough, the guy who's wearing chainmail only has a 15, because while yes, he does have a 20 ability score in his in light armor, I mean in dexterity, he can only add up to 2 to his armor class. And the final example is heavy armor. Heavy armor is literally just the armor you're wearing. You had no
You don't
ability.
get you don't get any dex bonus. Fuck
So
you for even trying.
certain classes have the ability to add different scores. Well, classes and subclasses have the ability to add different scores to your AC. An example is the Barbarian, who can add their Constitution mod.
Now, if you don't wear armor, your AC is always 10 plus dex.
Yes, for typical people, unless a rule goes against it, like the Barbarian or the Monk. Next one will be the Bard, an inspiring magician whose power echoes the music of creation. That is the actual description. Most people will tell you bards are all horny. You don't have to be. Most people also tell you bards are all minstrels. Technically, no. Any art form can be bardic. You can technically be a cook.
Yes. I fell into the horny trap when I first played D&D.
When he first played D&D, because the person running it thought all bards have to be horny, he fell into that trap. They have
Nice.
Well, we won't go into this horror
I don't want to
stuff.
go into detail on that. That's why I cut you off on that one.
So you
Well,
were
you
like
see.
a horny chihuahua humping everybody's leg.
No, Sam's character was the horny chihuahua.
That was due to the DM. Like I didn't want
Anyways,
to.
continuing on.
Their health die is a D8. Their primary ability is charisma.
They
Their
get
saving
spellcasting and bardic inspiration.
their saving throw is dexterity and charisma. They are proficient in light armor, simple weapons, hand crossbows, long swords, rapiers, and short swords. Also, another thing is weapons are divided into simple and martial. Simple weapons are simple by the terms of D&D. Martial weapons are more advanced and take more time to learn to train with.
So Hog's club is a simple weapon, whereas say Phoenix's rapier is martial.
Yes. Now, in some cases, a lot of classes will say light. They'll say simple or martial weapon proficiency. In some cases, they will lift off specific weapons. Those weapons can be martial but if it's listed like in your subclass or your class or your race, then yeah, you just get proficiency in those specific weapons.
So bards get light armor. They get simple weapons, hand crossbows, long swords, rapiers, short swords. They get 3 music instruments of their choice. They get dexterity and charisma saving throw, and they get 3 skills of their choice.
Yeah. Technically, skills are something that all classes will have. They will have a certain number of classes they can learn, and it will be from a certain class. It'll be from a certain skill list.
Up next is the cleric, I believe.
Yeah. I think actually one thing we didn't go over was the different skills they can learn.
We'll go over that when they choose the class.
Next one is cleric, a priestly champion who wields divine magic in service of a higher power. They also have a D8 to their health, primary ability wisdom. They have wisdom and charisma saving throw proficiency. They are proficient in light and medium armor, shields, and only simple weapons.
They get spellcasting and divine domain.
Yes.
They get something called a subclass at level 1.
There are only 2 classes in the... No, 3.
Yes.
There are 3 classes that get
4.
subclasses at level... What's the 4th one?
Technically, with the cleric, there's 4 subclasses, 7 subclasses, 8 subclasses that they can learn off rip in the PvP.
Well, no, I meant how many different classes in the game
3.
can have... Yeah.
Wizards get it at 2nd level.
Yeah. Then you have the Druid, who is a priest of old faith, wielding the powers of nature, moonlight, and plant growth, fire and lightning, and adopting animal form. They have a D8 for their hit die. Their primary ability is Wisdom, similar to a cleric. They are proficient. They have saving throw proficiencies in Intelligence and Wisdom. They're also proficient in light and medium armor, but specifically can only use non-metal armor, as
Yes.
according to the book. They are also proficient in shields that have to be non-metal. They are also proficient in clubs, daggers, darts, javelin, mace, quarterstaff, scimitar, sickle, sling, and spear.
They don't
Say
actually
that
get
10
a
times
simple,
fast.
Yeah, they don't get simple weapons. They get that hodgepodge of weapons.
Yes.
So you don't even have simple weapon proficiency.
Yep. They get abilities such as Wild Shape and get access to nature magic.
Nope. They don't get wild shape until 2nd level.
Well, yeah, but I meant like those are some examples of what they get.
You get druidic spellcasting at 1st level.
A fighter is
They're
very
your
simple.
knights. They're knights.
Not always.
Or gladiator fighters. Basically, if it has fighting with a melee weapon, you can find a
Or a
fighter
ranged
there.
weapon.
I never see fighters with ranged weapons at level 1.
Typically you don't, but there are people who do it. I've done it.
They get a D10 fight for HP die. They get all weapons and shields. They get all weapon, or they get all armors, all weapons. Their saving throws are strength and con. And at 1st level, you get a fighting style and 2nd wind. Fighting style, there's a few. 2nd wind, as a bonus action, you can heal yourself 1d10 plus fighter level.
Another thing is that examples of primary abilities are both strength or dexterity.
Yes.
You then have monks. Monks are a master of martial arts, harnessing the power of the body in pursuits of physical and spiritual perfection. They have a D8 health die. Their primary abilities are both dexterity and wisdom. Some of them have 1, some of them have 2. Saving throw proficiencies, strength and dexterity. Weapons. Now here's the thing: is they get no armor proficiencies, but they are proficient in simple weapons and short swords. That's it.
They get unarmored defense. They get to add their wisdom to their AC if they have no armor.
You then also have What?
I assume we're moving on to the paladin.
Yep. Then you have the paladin.
Kind of like a cleric, but you don't have to worship a god.
Yeah. They are holy warriors bound to a sacred oath. They have a D10 for health. They are strength and charisma. They have wisdom and charisma as their saving throws, and they are proficient in all armor, shields, and all weapons. You then have rangers. A paladin typically, I don't even know what they actually get from the beginning.
A paladin gets divine sense and lay on hands, so they can heal people and they can sense evil.
Yeah. Then you have rangers, a warrior who uses martial prowess and nature magic to combat threats on the edges of civilization. Is a D10. They get a D10 for health. Their primary abilities are dexterity and wisdom. They get saving throw proficiencies in strength and dexterity. They are proficient in light and medium armor, as well as shields, and they're proficient in all weapons.
Don't play rangers. People will tell you that they're good. They're not.
He hates rangers, but yet I've actually had people who play rangers. I've played a ranger myself, and they're not bad.
Okay, they get shafted is more like what happens.
People say that about every class. Like, that's not a main line. Technically, you'll hear people say paladins get shafted.
No, people love paladin because of divine smite. People hate ranger because it seems like their subclass is shafted from the very start.
You can also say that about wizards.
People love wizard because it gets magic. I don't know what to tell you, man.
No, but their subclasses do get shafted.
Rangers, they're okay. You can play one if you want. Don't let me stop you. Rogues, sneaky bastards with even sneakier tactics.
I tend to not describe them as what the book will try to describe them as because really what a rogue is an expert in their field. Not all of them are thieves. There are non-thieving, non-scoundrel types. They are just experts in their field.
Yes.
They get a D8 for health. Their primary ability is dexterity. They have have saving throw proficiencies of dexterity and intelligence. Light armor is the only armor they can wear. They are capable of using any simple weapon, as well as hand crossbows, long swords, rapiers, and short swords.
They get something called expertise, sneak attack, and thieves' cant.
Yeah. Thieves' cant is a unique language that allows them to communicate in a form that is kind of like a jargon, to where people who
Example. Let's go to the local bakery for tea could mean let's meet at the rendezvous point.
Another example that we technically bypassed is
Mhm.
druids speak druidic, which is a secret language only druids know. It is the language of nature, technically.
They speak to the trees, and the trees speak Vietnamese.
God damn it. Uh, you then
The
have
trees speak Vietnamese.
so you then have after that you have sorcerers. Sorcerers are spellcasters who draw an inherent magic from a gift or bloodline.
They
Uh,
get subclass at first level.
yeah, they actually only have a D6 of health. They are charisma based, typically. They have saving throw proficiencies in Constitution and Charisma, and they are also one of the ones that have a specific weapons list: daggers, darts, slings, quarterstaffs, or light crossbows.
These guys are born with magic. See, their mother fucked the dragon, and now they're born with magic.
Yeah, or by some random means they were infused with magical energy at a young age.
Basically, their bloodline is magic.
Yeah. You then have warlocks, a wielder of magic that is derived from a bargain with an extraplanar entity. They have a D8 of health. They're based on charisma. They have wisdom and charisma saving throw proficiency, and they can wear light armor and wield simple weapons.
Basically, they made a deal with Satan, but Satan actually liked them a little bit.
So they got power from him. Then
Yeah, they're like a
finally,
cleric, but
yeah.
cooler.
Then you have the one where that some people love it, some people hate it. Wizards. They are
They have to study
scholarly
the
magic.
arcane.
Yeah, they're scholarly magic users capable of manipulating the structures of reality. They have a D6 for health. They're intelligence based. They have proficiency for saving throws in intelligence and wisdom, and their weapons are darts, daggers, slings, quarterstaffs, and light crossbows.
Technically, they get the highest amount of spell slots.
They get the most amount of spells, but I'll tell you right now, unfortunately, when going through this in raw, they get shafted on their subclasses because they're powerful spellcasters. What I will tell you is one of the most bullshit classes in the entirety of D&D is a cleric.
Yeah, because clerics can do it all. You can have a team of all clerics called the Amen, and they can just go fuck up anything.
Ones that will feel like they get shafted sometimes are wizards, anything that's technically considered a half caster. So warlocks can feel shafted sometimes, rangers, paladins, even monks to some degree can feel shafted because they aren't because keep in mind, and the reason why I say they can feel shafted is because you aren't somebody who is specializing in a certain field. You are somebody who is choosing to basically delve into two worlds and build cohesion between them.
But now that all of you know what classes there are, do any of you know what class you want? Starting with Bio.
Yes.
Ranger.
Okay, so he's going Wood Elf Ranger.
I despise you, but I understand. Hogmaster.
Barbarian.
Phoenix.
Rogue.
Sam Slimmy.
I'm going for a cleric.
Instantly denied.
No, I'm going for a human cleric.
Now, I will say this: most DM, or at least some DMs, will prevent you from playing clerics.
They genuinely will, and it is kind of funny.
And finally, my favorite player, Shroomish.
I would like to be a monk.
All right.
Now we get to the fun part:
Bed.
assigning your scores.
Actually, technically, there's one more thing that we have to talk about before that. That people
Oh,
tend to
God.
gloss over.
I'm not gonna make it.
Backgrounds.
Can we come back to that, please?
Why?
I'm
I
about to
think
pass out.
I think Bio might check out and go to bed, and we can you, Doc, and Bio can talk later in the week and figure out his character.
So one of the things we can do, because I kind of expected going over this was going to be a long and tedious thing, because there's a lot to
Technically,
go
we are
over
2
for new
minutes over
players.
time.
Yeah, there are a lot of things that we have to go over.
Well, okay, so why don't we do the bases? We won't do the roles or anything like that. We just get the backstory and what we are out of the way, and then next time we'll go into the roles and how that works and all that
That's
stuff.
kind of where I was going to
Better.
lean towards. When it comes to backgrounds, there's a lot of them, I'd say. It's just a lot of them are really simple to go over.
Basically, we're just going to tell you what they are, and if you like it, you can choose it, and
Yeah.
we'll go in more detail later.
So, really, yeah, there's a lot of really arbitrary shit here. Let me flip to actually backgrounds real quick.
Because, let's be honest, you're never going to use your background feature unless it's really specific situations.
Yeah. So, examples of backgrounds, you have acolytes. You're basically a religious person. One thing is, backgrounds will typically decide your traits, your personality traits, your bonds, your flaws.
You're a dick.
In this case, examples are acolyte, charlatan,
Yeah.
criminal.
Acolytes are dicks.
Not all of them. Entertainer, a folk hero, a guild artisan, a hermit, a noble, an outlander. Where's the next one? A sailor, a soldier, an urchin, and I think there's also a sage. I think I might have skipped sage by accident.
Sage, yes.
Yeah.
There's technically more than that, but they're not PHB.
Yeah, PHB wise, a lot of them are simple. And just as a quick thing is, yeah, you're an acolyte. You instantly gain proficiency in insight and religion. You know 2 languages of your choice, and you get some starting equipment. You get a holy symbol, a book of prayer, or a prayer wheel, 5 sticks of incense, vestments, a set of common clothes, and a pouch containing 15 gold. Your feature is literally shelter of the faithful. You literally can go to a church and ask for shelter.
Sanctuary.
Yeah,
you
sanctuary.
can claim sanctuary.
There is a table for rolling personality traits, ideas, bonds, and flaws, but I kind of want to save that
You
for...
could just choose it. You can just choose it.
Yeah, you can just choose them. I don't really care. If you want to roll, you can. If you can't come up with something, there you go. Charlatans are skilled...
Charlatans.
Yeah, they're proficient in skills such as deception and sleight of hand. There you have tool proficiency in disguise kit and forgery kit.
Basically, charlatans. They'll
Yeah.
try to sell you snake oil.
Yeah. Equipment-wise, they get fine clothes, a disguise kit, tools of the con, which I'll go into that a little bit, a set of weight, which can be like a set of weighted dice, a deck of cards, marked ones, or a signet ring of an imaginary duke, and a pouch of 15 gold. You then have criminals. They are deceptive and stealthy. They have proficiency in skills such as deception and stealth. Tool proficiency is one type of gaming set, and thieves' tools. Thieves' tools are how you pick a lock, disarm a trap, stuff like that. Equipment include a crowbar, a set of dark common clothes, including a hood, and a pouch containing 15 gold. Their thing is criminal speciality, and their technically thing is called criminal contact. They're capable
There's actually
of...
a variant.
Yeah, but that's not in the book. I don't think. Oh, there is. Variant criminal
yeah.
spy. You can also be a spy. Basically, criminals and spies are not that different, except for instead of having a criminal network, you have a spy network. Basically, you can go to your local spy network or your local criminal hangout and get information. That is your background ability. Charlatans have false identity. They can technically pretend to be somebody else.
So they can be your mother in disguise.
Yep. Typically, basically, they'll have dual identities, the one that they really are, and then the one they're pretending to be. You have entertainers who have proficiency in the skills of acrobatics and performance. They have tool proficiencies in disguise kit and one type of musical instrument. Their equipment is a musical instrument of your choice, the favor of an admirer, a costume, and 15 gold. Their feature is by popular demand. Basically, you can go play songs in a courtyard, in a bar, somewhere, and you can earn money doing so.
Technically, you don't have to be a musician. You can be most any kind of entertainer.
Yeah.
Just not of the sexual variety, please.
Please, no, I've already had a player try that. Then you have gladiators. You can also be a variant entertainer, a gladiator. Gladiators do it for sport. Typically, what I do, and technically this is technically homebrew. I say instead of having a musical instrument, you're proficient in one weapon of your choice.
I'm gonna stop this right here real quick. Who the fuck said come on?
Yeah, who said come on about the sexual worker thing?
No one.
I swear to God, somebody did.
Well, it's not
Phoenix
I.
said come on. She wants to be a BDSM worker.
No, I was actually gonna ask the criminal. Can you be a criminal spy,
Yes, you can
or
be.
do you have to be one or the
No. Spy is a variant of criminal
Gotcha.
in the book.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Then you have folk heroes. Folk heroes are basically just that. You did some good deed, and now people sing stories of praise. They are They are skilled in animal handling and survival. They are proficient in one type of artisan tools and land vehicles. Riding a horse counts as a land vehicle. That is one thing I want to point out because it
You
confuses
can
the fuck
seek
out of people.
shelter.
Your equipment is a set of artisan tools, a shovel, an iron pot, a set of common clothes, and a pouch containing 10 gold. An example of a folk hero, steed equals land vehicle, yes. Yeah. Nekusasu, yeah.
And I
One thing to
believe you
describe
can
them is,
seek.
if you've ever seen Lord of the Rings, Samwise Gamgee is a folk hero. That is the description I will give him.
And I do believe they can seek shelter in the town which they're regaled
It's
in.
not just in the town. You have rustic hospitality. Basically, imagine southern hospitality, and you can basically charm your way into anyone's home. Now, you can't, if you do anything
Yep,
bad,
then we
of course,
shoot
they'll
and
kick
kill
you
you.
out.
You can't bang someone's wife and expect them to be cool with it, all because you're a hero.
Yeah. In this case, it's more of like that
I'm
rule.
from the south.
Have you ever heard that like southern hospitality, doors always open shit? That's what folk heroes get. It's the stereotypical southern
Said, yes, that
hospitality.
is our phrase, but we always want to see who's dumb enough to walk in the door.
That's an evil folk hero.
Yeah, it's an evil folk hero. Then you have guild artisans, which are crafters, or sellers in some cases. Their skill proficiencies are insight and persuasion. They get one type of artisan tools they're proficient with. They know one extra language. Their equipment includes a set of artisan tools, a letter of introduction from your guild, a set of traveler's clothes, and a pouch containing 15 GP. I will genuinely tell people not to play guild artisan. For one reason and one reason alone. They have something called guild business. Their ability is called specifically their feature is guild membership, which is honestly a double-edged sword. Basically, in exchange for you paying a fee to be a part of the guild, you basically get a letter that allows you can enter high class places, you can do a bunch of shit with it, but keep in mind, you have to pay for this.
You have to pay taxes to the IRS.
Yeah, you have to pay taxes in order to continue your guild membership.
Or they'll break your kneecaps.
Otherwise you lose the services of the guild. You have to pay 5 gold a month in order to do it. So I genuinely tell people not to play the subclass because it's kind of obnoxious.
If it happens that you don't pay your shit, I just make you choose a different background.
Yeah.
Because D&D players are stupid. They don't keep up with shit.
Yeah. You then have hermits. You live in the fucking middle of the woods, and you're probably a creep. Just gonna say it.
You
Truman.
disrobe at the weirdest times.
No. Your skill proficiencies are medicine and religion. Your tools are an herbalism kit. Herbalism kit is used to make salves, poultices. Yes, you can make weed.
Shroomish.
Yes, you can make weed brownies.
Yes.
You still there?
Yeah. You have one language of your one language of your choice, and you have equipment such as a scroll case stuffed with notes or prayers, a winter blanket, a set of common clothes, an herbalism kit, and 5 GP. Your feature is discovery. You know a secret of the universe. You know a secret of something that no one else knows. You basically have to talk to your DM about it. It's basically you get one free meta knowledge.
Oh, that's something we should say now. Metagaming makes me rip up your character sheet and kick you from the party.
Nobles. Your nobility.
Is that a threat or a promise?
Your daddy was famous.
Your daddy did something. Your mommy or daddy did something right. You have proficiency in history and persuasion. You have proficiency in tools such as one type of gaming set. You know one extra language, and your equipment is a set of fine clothes, a signet ring, a scroll of pedigree, a purse containing 25 gold. Your feature is position of privilege. You can basically throw your weight around as a noble and get away with shit.
You can have a tantrum and they'll say, "Sorry, sir, how would you like that?"
Yeah. A variant form of that is being a knight. Knights are a little bit better, and also they get a different feature. They can receive the feature of retainers. Basically, you have a squire, a guy who sings your praises, and someone else, and those people follow you around. They do not fight. They will run from combat, and they typically will help. Like one of them might be a cook, so he'll cook your food.
They also say, "Sorry, sir, how would you like that?"
Yeah. You then have Outlander, which is basically just a kind of like a hermit, except for you're less scholarly. You're just kind of living out in the woods.
You're the homeless guy in the woods.
Yeah. These are they get skill proficiencies in athletics and survival. They get one type of musical instrument. They know one language. Their equipment is a staff, a hunting trap, a trophy from an animal you killed, a set of traveler's clothes, and a pouch containing 10 gold. Their feature is Wanderer. Basically, they can find anywhere where it's possible. They can find food, or and they can provide to food and water and shelter and construct shelter for up to 5 people.
Honestly, fuck, man. Someone in the Sunday game should have had this background.
Somebody really should have picked that, but nobody did. You have sages. Sages are scholars. You have proficiency in arcana and history. You know of magic and history. You know 2 extra languages. Your equipment is a bottle of ink, a quill, a small knife, a letter from a dead colleague posing a question to you that you have yet to answer, a common clothes, and a pouch containing 10 gold.
Dead.
What?
You're like, you have a note from a dead friend that you have yet to answer. I mean, they're dead. How are you supposed to answer?
No. It's a question of the universe that you want to answer for them.
Your feature is researcher. You essentially have the ability to, you know where, if you don't have the information, you know where to get it.
You know a guy who knows a guy.
Yeah. And then you have a sailor. You have proficiency. You have skill proficiencies such as athletics and perception. You have tool proficiencies of navigator's tools and water vehicles.
You're a sea guy.
Yeah. Equipment. You got a club, 50 foot of silk rope, a lucky charm of the sea. Let's see. A set of common clothes and a pouch containing 10 gold. Your feature is ship's passage. Basically, anytime you need to get anywhere that involves the water, you can work on their ship and get passage to wherever you want to go.
Free labor for passage.
Yep. Then you have the soldier background, which is you are proficient in athletics and intimidation. You have one set of gaming set you're proficient with, and the land vehicles. You get an insignia of rank, a trophy from a fallen enemy, a set of bone dice or a deck of cards, a set of common clothes, and a pouch of 10 gold. Your feature is military rank. You can pull rank on people.
Something I love will love to do once
Yeah.
I actually can pull rank.
Basically, you're a dick.
No, you're a higher rank than someone else, and they should follow your orders
You can
blindly.
basically, if you're like somebody who can requisition, if you're high enough rank, you can requisition supplies. You can command other soldiers, that kind of scenario.
Technically, I could pull rank on all the player characters in one campaign,
Yeah.
but they won't listen.
You then have an urchin. You're a street urchin. You're a fucking homeless person. You know sleight of hand and stealth as skills. Your tools are disguise kit and thieves tools. Your equipment is a small knife, a map of the city you grew up in, a pet mouse, a token to a member of your, like, token to remember your parents, a set of common clothes, and a pouch with 10 GP. Your feature is city secrets. Essentially, any urban area, you know how to make your way through an urban sprawl really quickly. You know all the ins and outs of every city, even if you've never been there before.
Basically, you're that lonely kid no one wanted to talk to because you talk to yourself and smelt weird.
Yeah. Most people mostly just want to be an urchin so they can have a pet mouse. It's kind of funny. But
Honestly,
those are all
I
the
do shit
subclasses.
differently.
Those are all the backgrounds.
Yeah. I just let you have a fucking pet mouse if you promise to take care of it and remember to feed it.
But basically, those are the backgrounds as a quick speed run through.
You guys can tell us your answers later in the day. Who fucking cares?
Yeah. I'd probably actually say, wait, if you have an answer right
Write
now,
it
give us
down.
it, write it down. So, go down the list as you've been doing.
Bio.
Royalty.
You want to be a noble. Ooh. Do you want to be a
So,
knight or a noble?
Noble.
Okay.
So you want people to wait on you hand and foot. Got it.
Oh,
Hogmaster.
fuck that.
Hog.
It's fucking the hero one.
The folk hero?
Folk hero.
Currently
Alright.
playing Helldivers. Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Just because I think it's funny because I'm a halfling, which is only about 3 foot tall, I am going to do a criminal spy.
Okay.
Mr. Sam Slimmy. No one cares what you want to be.
He's an urchin.
No, I'm gonna go an acolyte. I'm gonna double down. I'm a priestly
Gross.
person.
Oh god.
You're a clergyman? Disgusting.
Yeah, I'm a cleric and an acolyte, and I'm human.
I know what character you're playing. Fuck you.
What?
Fuck you.
No, you do not know what I'm playing.
Do you worship a guy? Oh, what was his name? Alexander something something.
No, I'm not playing that one.
Alexander Hamilton.
I'm not playing that one. I will never play that character again. You can't pay me to play him. Also, they were a paladin.
Shroomish. What do you want to be, man?
Soldier.
Okay.
Oh boy.
We got ourselves a soldier. You just made Doc's day, by the way.
You don't understand, man. Soldier is my favorite background, right next to Marine and Sailor and Fisher.
Well, but those are from different books, so you can't pick to be one just yet. We will go over actually building your characters next time.
We will not build them in between. You will wait, or your character does not exist.
Yeah.
Understood.
Mostly because the point of this is to teach people who've never played D&D and teach the whole thing.
I will eat your character sheet.
Yeah. Doc will eat your character sheet.
Promise?
Except for Hogs. It's probably stained with something.
He wrote something wrong
Piece
and
of
he did white it out, but we don't know what he used to white it out. That's the problem.
Hogs goes into
Oh,
Phoenix.
you know what he used.
Yeah, to burn his, we have to shove it in Phoenix.
Excuse me? No.
I'm sorry, Sam told me to say this. He paid me to, actually.
I did. Okay, the funnier part is, do you even remember me actually telling you to say that?
No.
I did not pay you, but I told you to say it. That if we needed to burn anybody's character sheet, we're gonna burn it with Phoenix. Anyone else, we're gonna use Bio.
Why burn mine though?
Specifically, yours has to be burned with Phoenix.
Yeah.
Why though?
Because it's hilarious for us.
Basically. But yeah, for the most part, that's pretty much all the stuff we really like. Yeah, there's still like the ins and outs we need to go through, but to create a character, those are the basics. Next, we'll be going over like actual pet values, picking what you want in terms of your individual class, your individual stuff like that.
Sam, we forgot the most important character.
Who?
Jingles. Jingle wants to make a character sheet.
Jingles can make one later.
You just made Jingles sad.
I was about to say, the only reason you're saying that is because you're gonna play Jingles.
Jingles is a beautiful man.
Oh, you
Does
can't play
Jingles need the
Jingles.
jar?
You can't play Jingles. Goblin isn't a race in the player's handbook.
No, but it is a character's statistic in any handbook. So Jingles is always an NPC.
I know.
He got your ass on a catch-22.
That's the thing. Stat blocks and character sheets are not the same thing. I can use anything from anything.
Yeah, technically, I think the stat sheet, I think the character sheet thing, the stat block is, I think in the monster manual.
And to answer your question, I did not choose a noble to have people wait on me hand and foot.
Okay, so you
Liar.
want the version of it to be
I want the perks that it entitles, other than the
position of power.
Yeah.
What
Okay.
is it? I somewhat was paying attention, but what does a criminal spy get?
You
Alright.
get spy network.
Yeah, you get spy network. Basically, you know a group of a guy who can get you criminal-esque information, or in your case, technically, you have a spy network. So you know informants, you know individuals who can.
Basically, you know a guy who spies on that noble Woodfall elf.
I just think it was funny because she's like 3 foot tall and she's a criminal spy.
You're actually the most useful spy
'Cause I was
because no
about to
one's
say-
ever going to notice you.
Also, luckily,
Exactly.
so going over this real quickly, Bio, what is your background, class, and race?
I'm a wood elf ranger noble.
What is the name?
No, I don't need to know the name, not yet.
Oh,
Uh,
Leonis.
What?
Leonis.
Leonis? Okay.
Leonis.
Okay. Hog, what was yours?
It was the folk hero barbarian.
Barbarian.
Half-orc barbarian. Yeah.
And the race of half orc, yeah.
Phoenix?
Halfling, Lightfoot, Rogue, criminal spy.
Okay. And
What's
Shroomish.
that?
What?
I said, what's that? Phoenix, you're a human fighter?
No.
And what was your Shroomish? Oh, did we lose
I
Shroomish?
am a. Oh, I'm here.
Okay.
I am a rock gnome monk soldier.
Okay. And then
Damn,
I'm gonna
they
be
really-
and I'm gonna be
They
playing
really
a human acolyte cleric.
They really sent someone from the fucking monastery of rank.
Yep. Now there are some nuances that we can go over about your guys' actual backgrounds and backstories are different.
Yes. You don't have to play a character whose parents died in a horrible car crash of '99.
But what if I want to be Batman?
No,
Too
they were
bad.
killed in a back
I'm
alley.
Batman.
Yeah. I've had some players who literally have tried to just rip off stories from other stuff, and I'll be like, all right, if you want that to be your backstory, there you go.
Sadly, people still compare my shit to Atlantis.
I'm sorry, that was unintentional. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it for what we wanted to go over for this stream.
This is session 0. Come back next time
For session 0.3.
Technically, Sam will be taking over next time.
Session
He'll be running the
0.1.
encounter.
Yep. No, you still run the first encounter.
I don't know, man. We said we were swapping off every other Monday.
Oh wow, you're really gonna make me run the encounter?
Yep, so technically I'm playing a human acolyte cleric.
Okay, you can play the human acolyte cleric.
Now we can discuss whatever the fuck happens this time next time.
Yeah.
Okay, so next time we're doing strength, dexterity, constitution.
Yes. Next time
Yes,
we're
there we
going
go.
into the grittier details of your character. I mostly just wanted to get through all the classes, subclasses, well, mostly just classes, races, and stuff like that. Luckily, none of you guys have to worry about subclasses from the start. The only one who does have to deal with it is me. But I already know how to play, so that doesn't bother
No one
me.
gives a shit about you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm purposely mean to Sam as a DM.
Yep.
Only
I'm just
as a
normally
DM?
mean to him. Anyways.
No, as a player, I'm mean to him as
Oh, by
well.
the way, just to tell you, Doc, I'm being the most bullshit type of cleric.
Let me guess, a war cleric?
Yup.
Actually, there is no war since there was a huge gap of peace. You can't play a war cleric.
Yeah, no, I'm
You
literally.
can only play a peace domain, life domain, or even a light domain cleric.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I'm that ass. I'm gonna play a war cleric just to make your life hell.
He walks out the door to go adventuring, trips, falls, and breaks his neck.
Exactly. Your god said you were too kind to that person last night. Death.
He walked out the door that he thought was the first floor, but it was the second floor and fell to his death.
Yeah.
Sorry, you contract the disease because there's so many exotic races in the party, and your human biology just can't handle it.
Ha ha ha. Funny. But all right, that's pretty much all we're
Wait a
gonna do
minute,
for.
didn't he say he was getting into that like the chihuahua the horny chihuahua all over again? So that would mean he tripped, fell, and landed and impaled himself on his own dildo.
Why is that so cursed? Oh.
But tune in next
You
time.
telling me that we all haven't done that before?
So
You know what,
the next time,
No, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this shit up. Fuck all of you. Join us next Monday for the normal podcast. Join us the Monday afterwards for more D&D.
Yeah. And unlike all the previous podcasts, I will actually be doing the uploading of this and the ones that I keep forgetting to upload.
oh, you fucking better.
Take a shot every time he promises to do something. And I promise you, you'll have cirrhosis in 2 minutes.
I'd be dead.
I'll be plastic. Be gone.
I don't need her dying that quick.
No, I'm gonna upload them.
She's a phoenix. She'd
The
come
sad
right
part
back.
is
I will-
the sad part is I have them saved, but I just haven't uploaded them.
I
So
know.
this is-
You say that every damn time and still have yet to upload them, even though you promised to upload them. Just wait. When we're done, I'm going to upload them. They're still not done yet.
Yeah.
Leave it to a
what I'm
southern
gonna
man
do.
to shout at you.
This is what I'm gonna do. When I do my Good Morning Misfits in our little group chat, I'm gonna upload the fucking video, Sam.
Well, now he's not going to read it.
No. I always read it. I just never respond.
No, he doesn't like specialized, personalized messages.
Oh. Maybe.
We know this.
Anyways,
But
I'm
alright.
going to fill in for everyone else because they don't get an outro because they were all bad.
What?
Good.
No. Now,
Says
Doc,
who?
you have to
That's
say
pretty good.
everyone's outros for them. He turned into a Sims character. Nice. But alright,
That was Sam's
No, he
outro.
turned into a fucking dwarf.
But alright, I'll catch you on the slimy side.
Thank you for visiting the pig pen.
Stay toxic, everyone.
This room will return.
I'm sorry, Phoenix. You don't go last this time.
Why?
It's
Because
D&D.
he is the fucking D&D.
Make sure to
He's
like,
the
follow,
DM. He has
describe
to
all
laugh.
the. Fucking shut up, Hog. Make sure to like, subscribe, and follow all of our platforms. And stay awesome, guys. We will see you in the next video.
Or not. Depends if we upload this. Anyways,
Right.
the dungeon is now closing.
Bye-bye.